I mean, what a rock star here.
I know. Character is it. Character is it. No, Jackie has the dedication it takes. It truly does. She has the spiciness that it also takes. The chutzpah. You really have to be dedicated. You really also have to have a sense of humor. And we both found that we have this very dark sense of humor when you need people in rescue can have a very dark sense of humor. Yeah. It's the only way you survive mentally.
I think the thing of it is, it's not you. There's different portions to it. One is that you learn actually how to do the job. You learn how to care for senior animals. But the other thing is getting close to Mary and being friends with Mary. I saw her lifestyle. Because it really is a different type of lifestyle. You can't travel when you want to. You know, you can travel some, but it's a lot of arrangements that you have to put in place. And you kind of get the lifestyle that it's really not a 9-to-5 kind of job. It's really a 24-hour day, 24 hours a day, plus it's 7 days a week. And you're lucky if you get a day off. And I don't know that in rescue there's anything like a full day off. It just doesn't happen.
When's your last vacation?
I went overnight to a friend's birthday party in Richmond about a month ago.
That's not a vacation.
That's right. That is exactly true.
That's it. It's a rescue vacation.
Okay?
It reminds me so much of being an entrepreneur. I've had one vacation in 11 years.
Yeah. That's what we're talking about.
Yeah.
And so you either want to do it or you don't. Yeah. And a lot of people in rescue, or a lot of people that see rescues think, oh, it's about petting the dogs and loving on the dogs or the animals if you have cats or whatever the thing is. But that's a really small part of it, because you've got grant writing, you've got administration, you might have staff. There's so many pieces to it, and nobody comes into it, at least I don't believe they do, where you know everything. You've got to challenge yourself on your weak points, play on your strong points, and do it for the animals. So it really is a growing experience. It's a learning experience. It never stops. I think that's part of the excitement of rescue. But it is a lifestyle,
She's so good.
And you got to roll with it. You have good days and bad days, and there's days where you just say, I just can't believe it. It just can't get any worse. But you got to get up in the morning and keep going, because you do it for the animals.
You have swagger, and people are seeing that swagger. Let me give props to the folks that are watching and say what they say, then I'll throw it to you, okay? First, Rose LeMaster says, you are awesome, and gives the heart emoji.
Yes, she is, Rose.
Rose, yeah, awesome.
She's a president. She's our president of our board of directors. That doesn't count.
Harris Tober, this is going to be a good one. Susan Blakeney from Connecticut, another angel working so very hard to help pets in Fluvanna County. Welcome to the show, Jackie. Hi, Mary. I love your show, Mary Burkholtz. The Jacqueline Ann Myers page is in fuego right now. Denise Ray Grenier. I hope I'm not messing your name up, Denise. Hi, Jackie, from your old friend from high school. Denise, you do such a great job.
I went to high school with her. Tell me these people from high school are calling
Gail Marie, Marianne Dillerjan. I'm so glad for Jacqueline, an awesome shelter. You are the absolute best. She says, Jerry Miller, Jackie can tell all about me, my saved seniors, and more. The cat on my profile pic is my last saved senior. I love her organization. Rachel Ferguson says, great job, Jackie. Hope to visit again soon. You have the biggest heart and run an amazing shelter. Amy Myers, both of you ladies rock. I love peaceful passing senior animal rescue and caring for creatures from Amy Myers. Mary Burkholtz, you get in here, and then I know Jackie's going to get in here.
And those checks will be coming out to everyone that just made a comment at the end of the day.
What do you got for us?
So now you know what our phone conversations are like.
Did you get a word in?
Oh, yeah, we can get pretty crazy. But anyway, and one question I have, because I get asked this question, so now I have the opportunity to ask someone else. Do you have, and I know Obi was one of your big guys. He was wonderful. But is there someone who you feel taught you about yourself? Something about yourself.
Question.
Yeah, well, Obi, sat and Satin was a hound that I actually adopted from Caring for Creatures.
Yeah.
She lived to be 22 or
I
something
know,
like
yeah,
that. So,
yeah.
unbelievable.
She was a
but
little kind of
with-
beagly hound
yeah,
dog.
with good care. This is what we're talking about.
Yeah.
This is what you can accomplish. Good medical care, good food, etc. An exciting little personality, even at 22. And I'm just putting a plug in for Satin because
Yay,
she was so
Satin.
great. But my little Munchkin was a Chihuahua. Loved me, not everybody, but loved me. And she was just always supportive. She used to sleep with me. And there were nights when I first started the rescue. The first year is difficult. And you struggle for money and struggle for supporters and struggle for donors, a whole thing. So there were nights where I would cry and I wouldn't know where we were going to get the money to pay for the vet bills for the next dog and the next dog. And Munchkin would sit on the pillow next to my head, and she'd just stand very tall, and she'd go, "Mom, you're doing the right thing. Hang in there. We're going to make it. This is going to be okay." And she'd lick me, and it was just, I could almost hear her words. She was so sincere in her look, her gaze, and being right by me during those difficult times and licking my tears away, that I knew she was right, and I just had to keep going and take that next foot forward. And now it's, our success story. She was such a big part of it. But they're all very special spirits. They're all different. They're all individuals. You get something from each one, and they all play a role in your life, kind of like your friends. Like you have your gossip friends, and you have your close friends, your confidants, your goofy friends, the ones you go out with, to the restaurant or a bar or something. You have, people play different roles in your life. And I really believe these animals do the same thing. And I found that at Caring for Creatures. I mean, that was a big thing. Honeydew in her last stages of life. Obie, there were so many that, I got a rapport going with, and I saw the difference, and I saw what caring for them did for me.
Exactly.
And I couldn't let go of it, and that's why we have a rescue over at Peaceful Passing.
Second sizzle reel there. I want to go to the bar with Jackie. Okay, I want to hang out with you. You got the personality right. Let's give some props to the listeners, and then you jump in here. You're getting a lot of positive feedback. Rachel Ferguson says, Anna Johnson, get in on this. Jackie is live right now, and it's hilarious. Rachel Ferguson.
She's from England.
Really?
Yeah, and
Anna
Anna
is watching.
Yeah.
Our friend
Oh, no,
Annie.
wait. Is that a different Annie?
Anna is
No, it's a
Venezuelan,
different-
but she's in Maryland, and Rachel Ferguson lives in England.
Well, no, Annie, who volunteered
Yes,
with you,
yeah.
is also watching.
Yeah. Oh, is
She's
she on?
watching right
Is she
now.
on
She
now?
goes,
Hi,
"This is
Annie.
part of my
Oh, yeah,
Thursday
yeah.
routine."
Oh, cool.
Thank
Yay,
you, Annie,
Annie.
for watching. What do you have for us, Mary?
Okay. So I feel that part of what Jackie had just said is sort of where I'm always coming from, where my personal message to humans, and that is you will gain so much for your animal if you just get into it with them. And Jackie learned that by taking care of them and pushing herself beyond whatever, level she thought she could be at. But I will say, every time she said the struggle, it was something I related to, something I went through. And again, I'll come back to our biggest struggle together was that big emergency rescue we did. And talking about it wasn't so funny at the time, but it was, the heat of August in Virginia, and which is brutal anyway. And unfortunately, none of the grass had been cut, so there's dogs you can't even see because they're in 3 feet grass. Well, it might have been the second day, I don't remember, but she and I had been out there the whole first day drawing pen maps and who's where and all of this, and it's towards the end of the day, and I'm sitting there, we're talking about whatever we're talking about, and Jackie stops talking, and she looks at me, and she says, "Don't look now, but there's a horse coming." There was a horse that was a part of the rescue we didn't even know about, and the horse was heading right for us. He was just walking around loose. So the horse was part of the rescue, and I went, oh, good, this is what we need. Go look now, there's a horse.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
And so Mary's doing the staffing from the volunteers, like staffing how we're going to do this thing, and doing the map of the pens. So I get the assignment to count the animals. Okay, well, these buildings, the floors were broken out at the bottom. So some of the dogs went under. They had either gone in this way from the top or they'd gone underneath. So I'm coming back and I'm saying, Mary, we've got this many dogs. And then I go around again, Mary, we've got this many dogs. And so Mary's like, at some point we have to know how many animals we have here. And I got it, totally. So what happened was I'm counting, we came up 106 dogs, 19 cats, and then this horse that wanders up. So, and something has to happen. The horse,
sure.
The horse has to get housed, and the cats have to get housed, and it was all of that. So it was a lot, but they just came out of nowhere because they were hiding in the grass. They were under the buildings. It was just huge, huge.
Rachel, Destiny Nicole says, hey, Mary and Jackie, you guys look great.
Hey, yes.
We have Peaceful Passings pages on fire. Hamish Bromhauer Nelson, you are absolutely amazing. Giving you some props right now. I have a question for you. How about one of those moments? And I feel like I always look at things, from like the entrepreneur's perspective, because that's what I'm doing 80 hours a week here. Did you ever have one of those moments where it either was like an aha moment or like, oh my gosh, this is not only working, but it's working really well? And the second part of the question is, did you ever have one of those moments? Because we try to celebrate the positive, and part of celebrating the positive is acknowledging that there are down times and tough times. It's not all roses. And basically saying, this was the downtime, and this is how I handled it to make it a good time. Two-part question for you.
Okay, well, one thing that really made a tremendous difference for my rescue is it's a woman named Sandy Reese who runs an organization called Get Fully Funded. And I went to her workshop at Virginia Federation of Humane Societies conference one year, met her, and then signed up for her program. She has different levels of these programs, but I signed up for the elementary basic program. And I've been working with her for a couple years, and it really helped increase our donations, grant writing, fundraising in general, how to do planning for all of that. So it's been a real education for me. So that's really part of the reason that we're doing better today. Getting the name out there, getting the word out there helps, and that takes a while, I mean, when I first did my newsletter, my husband said, oh, good, who are you going to send it to? So I said, well, I'm sending it to my friends, I'll send it to my family, and some people will write back or contact you and say, I'm not donating any money, like your best friend or maybe a family member, and so you get kind of down and discouraged and stuff. But anyway, so you just have to keep working until you have somebody to send Christmas cards to and your newsletter and all this kind of stuff. Building up your Facebook, numbers and all that kind of stuff. So that takes a while, and you just have to hang in with it and watch it grow. Downtimes can be things mostly that are disappointing situations, working with shelters when I'm trying to help their animals. That, to me, is extremely discouraging.
What do you mean by that?
I mean like a shelter that might transfer a dog to us when it's hospice, but it doesn't have quality of life. So we had a situation like that happen recently, and we put the dog on medications that our veterinarian prescribed, and the dog only lasted 2 weeks before it had to be euthanized. People that just don't work with us. Sometimes owners will surrender dogs, and then they want the animals back, and it can be that the owner has really mental health issues, so it's not just, I changed my mind. So you get into you work with people who have to surrender animals because they're in domestic violence situations, because they have their own mental health issues. It's not just that everybody moves or everybody, has some other kind of life issue happen, though that is also a cause for why people want to surrender animals. And I think it's a sadness that I feel for the animal itself. I mean, there's a lot of people who really believe that if your animal's older, you just let it go in the woods and it will go and die. that they'll just wander off and die. They will die from no food, they will die from no medical care, but if they're not ready to die, they may very well have a quality of life.
Yeah, I experienced that firsthand, and she helped me with this, with my 17-year-old that I just put down a couple weeks ago. My first animal that I've ever fallen in love with. And she was hanging on and hanging on. I have 2 other German Shepherds that were keeping her alive by keeping her from staying in just this little ball and becoming like geriatric and arthritic. They were constantly getting her up and moving around, like almost harassing her, but in a good way. No quality of life, no back leg work, very little appetite, seizures once every other day. The meds were not working. Raw meat was not working for food. But she didn't want to go. And selfishly, I wanted her to go so I didn't have to make the decision of putting her down, because that says probably more about me than her, just because I didn't want to do it. And I didn't want to have to play God then. She gave me, and I'll straight up say it, like she sat across from me at the table and started crying in front of her. And Mary came over and gave me like a big hug. And it was just tough, and it's no fun.
Yeah, it's difficult to have to face the end-of-life issues. It's difficult to see the animals put in a bad situation by humans, because I feel so much for the animals. I, in those moments, try to remind myself that that's why I run a rescue, because I'm in a position to help them. So we help as many as we can. We've worked with just over I would say about 700 senior animals so far. So, but it's when you have that personal connection. It's you look in their eyes, you see them age, you see, they're not, they need as much care, if not more. And at least I feel like I do my part to be there for them.
What do you think, Mary?
And the story that I want us to share is because both of us shared in the rescue of this animal, Huck. And I just want to honor Huck's story.
I'm tearing up again.
I know. Huck was this beautiful, whatever he was, mixed terrier, Benji-looking cut of hair. He was found alongside the road. I don't even remember how many years ago, but it was a while back. And someone brought him to Caring for Creatures because they go the same route every day, and for 3 days in a row, this dog was in the same place. So they couldn't understand. Well, they stopped finally on the 3rd day. The dog's blind. He can't see. So he's just sitting there because it doesn't know where to go. They bring him to Caring for Creatures, and he had a condition called dry eye, which requires very special medications. In addition, he had ear issues. He had any number of issues. So we fix him back up, get him healthy, and we had some folks that wanted to adopt him. We got a good vet reference on them, and everything else seemed to check out. So he went to go with these folks. And the checkups that we did in the beginning all sounded well and good, et cetera, et cetera. So time goes by, and I'm trying to remember those details, but and Jackie will fill you in on her end of it, but Jackie calls me one day and asks me about this dog, or she started telling me the story.
Well,
what happened? How you got him.
We took the dog in. It was an owner transfer. And so this man comes to surrender his dog to us. And he said he got the dog from a different shelter. So I just accepted that for what it was. Okay, fine. And then he wanted to come and visit the dog while Huck was with me for a period of time. So he came and brought his girlfriend. And the girlfriend's talking. She's talking. She's on a roll. He's kind of quiet, but she's on a roll. So she says, oh, yeah, we got Huck from Caring for Creatures. And he came to me with medical issues, which, Mary had, I'm sure he was fine when he was adopted out, but now they hadn't taken care of him properly, so he comes to me with medical issues. And so I'm just talking to him, and I can't wait till they leave so I can hit that telephone, baby, because I called Mary immediately. Yeah. So, because I'm thinking, Joe, she is going to be lit when she hears this, So anyway, call Mary, and sure enough, Mary was not happy to find out this dog that she adopted out was not properly cared for, and that dog was coming right back to Caring for Creatures this minute, so that, which I knew she was going to say, because we do the same thing. If you can't keep a dog that we adopt you. Of
course.
Bring
your
the
whole
dog
mission.
back.
Right,
Yeah.
it's got to
Yeah.
come back.
Yeah.
So anyway, so we get the Huck over to Mary, and sure enough, it's the Huck that she
Yeah,
adopted
it
out.
was,
And there
but-
were still people at Caring for Creatures that knew Huck.
Yeah,
and they
yeah.
were
How
furious.
long had it been?
Yeah. Oh my God. 5 years, maybe?
Yeah,
6 years?
Yeah, I would say so
That
because
he had been out on
Yeah.
adoption,
Yeah.
something like that, perhaps.
Yeah, and and there were people at Caring for Creatures that knew him and cared very much for him, and cared for him while he was at Caring for Creatures. So personal connection, and then finding this
Yeah.
dog, had been transferred to us, came in neglected,
So
Amazing
he's
story.
he stayed with us for the rest of his life, and he had issues. In fact, he had a permanent spot right in our main office, and got to see everyone. He was pretty much blind, but we would get him outside, and he kind of got the hang of it, walking up and down the hill, and loved the smells. And finally, other systems started breaking down, and in the end, we had to let him go. But yeah, it was just this full circle moment of, all this time that had gone by, and the universe works in wonderful ways, So I'm so glad Huck ended up with Jackie, so we knew what happened.
Cynthia Sharp says, "I love you guys. You guys look great." The April Myers says, "Karen Moore Grubbs, jump on right now. This is fantastic." And the other ladies love this. I mean, your page is blowing up right now. This is a question that I have for you, and this is a question that's posed on the I Love CVille page. Starting a rescue focused strictly on senior animals. No easy task, right? I mean, the senior animals oftentimes are the ones that folks don't want to adopt.
Right. And so let me tell you something else. So what did I do for a career, my professional career, for 37 long, hard years? I worked with at-risk youth and families. So I thought if I could do that for 37 years.
It's a piece of cake.
This is a piece of cake. I got this, So I just got it down. And the other thing, too, is, again, I keep going back to this, but it's what pulls at your heartstrings, If it's finding your purpose, it's finding your mission, and it's a calling. You're called to this work. So you have to consider that at the same time, take it into consideration, because without that, you probably wouldn't have the dedication to do this. And it was senior animals. Now, there's many good causes out there, lots of nonprofits, and each one doing a service, performing good work. But senior animals was my thing, just like at-risk youth used to be my thing.
You have a big heart, a huge heart. Does your husband
She
ever
does.
say? Does your husband ever say, "Jackie, you got a big heart here. Come on, Jackie," or is he completely always behind your back in your corner, going, "Let's do this. Let's make it happen"?
He criticizes me constantly, constantly. They don't know you because they don't live with you every day. Let that Jerry Miller come and live here all day. Then I see if he'd let you on his show.
So good.
What am I going to say? That's the truth,
Shelley, I'm
It's
going
all
to get.
smoke and mirrors, smoke and
I'm
mirrors.
going to get you in here shortly. Shelley D'Souza, and I'm sorry if I messed your name up, Shelley, but Shelley says, "Jackie is so awesome and a wonderful person and a wonderful, wonderful caregiver." Guys, if you can like and share the stream, like whatever Facebook page you're watching, like this post and share this post, and keep the spotlight on Caring for Creatures and keep the spotlight on Jackie. Austin Peggy says, "All you guys are fantastic." Jackie DeShano, "Hey, Jackie and Mary, you guys rock." Cynthia Sharp, "Senior animals need us more than other animals." Gail is saying, "It's such a blessing to see a senior living his puppy life. They are more than you can absolutely ask for." Put a comment in, and I'm happy to relay it to the ladies. Mary, what do you have for us?
And I like her comment, and I love people who come to adopt senior animals, cats, dogs, whatever. And we've had senior animals adopted, some that have been with us for years. They might be 12, 13 years old. Jackie knows this. I don't have as many seniors as I do other ages, but there's some sort of, the sky opens up and angels come down when that happens. You're just like, oh, yes. And the animal is happy. You get the pictures back. The animal's on the couch. The animal's in the bed. They're just like the last part of their life. You can rest easy.
What
you can
characterizes
rest
a senior
easy.
animal?
Everyone thinks a little different. We With cats, I think cats probably don't hit senior status until they're probably pushing 10 or 11. Dogs.
So past the halfway marker?
Depends.
I mean, cats,
depends
what,
on
18?
Yeah, they can. We've had some live to early 20s.
Okay.
So it depends on, a lot of different factors. But dogs, larger sized dogs, 8 years old.
Right.
You might consider a senior dog. The smaller breed dogs, shoot, Jackie, I would say much older before they're senior,
Yeah,
right?
We usually say
you have a lot of smaller ones that,
Yeah, 7 and older.
Okay.
Now,
so 49 in human years.
Yeah, so
Thereabouts,
much sort of that. Yeah, but to get a 7-year-old, it's really a little bit unusual for us because though there are other senior rescues, the dogs we take in, they could be. Like our oldest dog right now is 24.
Get out of town.
Yeah.
Tell me about
That's
this.
unusual, isn't it?
Yeah.
Tell me about this dog.
Yeah,
we
well-
talked about it a little bit. Tell me about this dog.
Well, miniature schnauzer, poodle, Skipper Key mix. Skipper Keys are supposed to be a very, very long-living dog. Skipper Key's genes have taken over his entire body, and so he's about like this big. He's sort of the size of a miniature schnauzer, but he's just got this incredibly long life. He's on only a little thyroid medication. That's our Skipper, and some people out there have met him. But generally, great health. Went to the groomer yesterday. Absolutely did wonderful. But he's 24. But we have 19-year-olds and 17-year-olds, and we have dogs that we've had them adopted at those ages also. So and people will adopt. We had someone adopt a 17-year-old. The dog passed when it was about, I would say, 18 and a half. They'll be back next week to adopt another senior.
It's amazing. Let me get to the viewers here. Rachel Ferguson, Skipper is a doll, and she has the emojis with the hearts in the eyes. She did 3 of them. Austin Peggy says, Jackie sends a thank you card every time you donate and a poem. She's an absolute angel. You're a popular lady over here. On your Peaceful Passings page, Doris Wiesen, Jackie simply rocks. Great lady with a huge heart. Shelly says, thank you for shedding light on seniors in need. I am loving this show. Just great stuff happening right now. I just spit. Like and share. Like and share the stream, guys. Like and share the stream wherever you're watching. Sandy says, this is hilarious. Sandy Van Nostren is just laughing hysterically right now. Mary Burkholz, you have picked a winner right here. I need to highlight this. There might be a misconception that there's competitiveness within the rescue community. I'm clearly seeing otherwise here. Let me throw that to you first. And I know you got something to say about that. What do you got, Mary Burkholz, on that?
There is
Okay.
competitive.
Okay.
There absolutely is.
Okay.
I wish there was not, because of all the rescues, look at all the animals still in need. I mean, my God, no one group can take care of all of the animals out there. I think where the competitiveness or angst might come in sometimes is everybody has their own way of doing things. And if one group does...
Ego?
Possibly, yeah. That's all part of it. Some people think you do it this way. There's another thought that you do it that way. So sometimes that gets a little pushback with each other. But I hate that, and it drives me a little insane, and I really have to walk away from it. So I hate to have to go into my little cocoon sometimes at Caring for Creatures, but I've never had to do that with Jackie and a couple of the other groups that we work with in Fluvanna County. Yeah, it's out there. Everybody has an opinion.
Jackie, jump in here. Deborah Dimer says, you guys are absolutely awesome. So a lot of positive feedback here. How about the competitiveness with the rescues?
I think one thing between Mary and I is that because I started my rescue kind of based on the Caring for Creatures, what I'll call a model, philosophically, et cetera, there's a closeness there that's built in there. Now, I think, quite frankly, all rescues, as possibly all nonprofits, compete for dollars.
Of course,
Right.
there's only so many.
Right.
Exactly.
And you're like, give me that $100. It's just, that kind of thing. And you try to be happy for the other person, but everybody's competing for dollars, whether it's donor dollars or grants or foundation money or what it is. So that's kind of a little bit built into it. I think that there is a thing about the way people do things, and that sometimes because we all think we're doing it the best for the animals, it can be kind of competitive in that sense that, well, they don't do it like I do it, and I do it the best, and they should do it the way I do it, so people want to dictate to each other. And it's really better to kind of stay in your own lane. So I think that's a big part of it, is that you just can't step into somebody else's lane because you really don't know this individual situation of that rescue. And philosophically, not everybody's going to agree, just like people don't agree on really anything.
Right.
You know? Yeah.
Especially the era of social media, it seems. Let me get to the listeners here. Alston Peggy says, Bissell gives to rescue some great sponsors. Ronnie says, Jackie, I thought you were coming into Palmyra for lunch. What the hell? Were you supposed to come into lunch today to Palmyra?
No, he knows that. It's not on my calendar.
It's not on her calendar, Ronnie. Okay, let me throw this to you here. Oh my gosh, Sandy is loving the show right now. She says she attributes the competitiveness to ego. Mary Burkholz, jump in here. What are you thinking?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, everybody has ego. You really need ego to survive in the world.
Especially with what we're doing. Yeah, because the odds are so stacked against us.
Absolutely.
We have to be able to think that we can overcome insurmountable odds. And like what I've learned from you, and really from you a lot, because I spend the most time of any nonprofit and charity with you, is like with small businesses, 80% of small businesses fail in their first 3 years. And essentially what a rescue or a charity or a nonprofit is, it's a small business. It's just a different kind of filing with the tax return. You guys have the same overhead, same payroll to feed, same mouse to feed, same electric, keep the lights on. I mean, it's the same concept. So when we jump into the mix, we have to have like not only Teflon skin and not only courage and guts, but we have to have this like undeniable spirit where we think we can beat what historical statistics say otherwise we can do. And that takes, that ain't no easy task.
And the thing with animals, working with animals, and it would be with children too, but you're working with real live beings. You're not, selling sweaters or pencils or something. You have lives you're responsible for. And so there's the emotional component that comes into it probably to a greater degree than some other professions. But yeah, it's a jumble of emotion and stress and struggle. There's a lot of all of those every day.
Yeah, and I think the other thing is that because of all of those factors, people sometimes don't kind of cut us a break with it because we're always supposed to be up and always supposed to be happy and everything's a great little animals and we just love what we're doing. And so you can't really show a lot of that, I'm stressed.
The authenticity, what is actually going through our head, because you don't want it to radiate to other people when everybody just thinks that you're like, you like in some ways walk on water, when we struggle with the same thing that everybody struggles with.
Absolutely.
I totally get where you're coming from.
Yeah, and I have that a lot. You can see from comments. I mean, I appreciate that people know what I do, like what I do, but at the same time, there is this thing of like you walk on water, and that's not true. So on Facebook, periodically, if you really scroll back through my Facebook stuff, you'll see some very human things, because I feel like once in a while I have to throw something out there.
Right.
Like, my husband and I have arguments once in a while. We have, the car broke down. Something that's kind of a
real life
reality check. Just to say, we're people like anybody else. And there's days where I cry, and there's days where I'm upset, and there's days where I'm short-tempered. And you get those telephone calls, and we do grief counseling. And so people, call in if their animal's either passed or is on the verge of passing. And you have to be understanding and listen like a counselor would. And I try to do that. But at the flip side of that is, I'm tired. I'm exhausted. I haven't had a vacation. I probably am hungry. I'm looking.
I'm working on like 4 hours of sleep.
Exactly.
Right. And so it all plays into it. And I think another thing about the competitiveness, which Mary's going to laugh at this, so I think I've probably said it to you before. People will come to me and say, well, Caring for Creatures has 130 blah, blah, blah acres, and you only have 10.
And what do you say?
Or they'll make some other comparison. We're a home-based rescue, And I think it's the most appropriate for a senior animal because they need more care.
Of course, they need more intimacy.
Right.
They don't need the sprawling acreage because
Yeah.
they're older. They need more attention.
All right, and
Is that right?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
And so we have we work with about 20 to 25 at any one time, and probably 50 to 60 per year. And so they'll say, well, Mary has some more dogs. Mary has more cats. You know, it's not
That
a
drives
thing
me crazy.
I know,
I
it's
hate
not,
that. She knows I hate that.
Well, because you're such a team player.
Yeah, I'm like, what is that?
it's about the
Where is-
animals.
It's not.
Why
and
is
it's-
that going there?
It's
I
human
know.
nature.
And it's
It
not,
is human. It's
Yeah.
human
It's
nature.
nothing
Yeah.
between us. It's
Yeah.
it's the stuff that comes from outside in.
Yeah.
You know,
And unfortunately, it's exasperated with social media. And why it's exasperated with social media, I think there's more transparency of what's actually happening. I mean, that's, let me throw this to you here. Austin Peggy says, don't forget the poop. He says, we're all doing that. I still take out the trash and clean the toilets here at my company. These ladies are probably dealing with the same with their nonprofits and their rescues here. I got a question coming in from you. This is a good one right here. This is from Kristen Kravensky. Sometimes senior dogs or cats experience appetite problems, whether they have decreased interest in eating or complete lack of appetite. As long as the vet does not find any medical concerns for the decrease in appetite, do you find that adding freeze-dried appropriate foods or cooked vegetables helps with increasing their appetite? Good question right there. Would you like to go first on that one, Mary?
I can. When we have an appetite issue it was a cat, right? She was referring to?
Oh, she said cat or dog.
Oh, cat or dog.
Yeah.
We, quite frankly, there's no limits to what we will try. And if the cat or dog does not like one thing, we've used raw food, we've used freeze-dried, we've used dehydrated, canned, or we use people food, those roasted chickens. I don't know how many we've bought of those things. Whatever it takes, we use. And if a senior animal's got issues, whether it's kidney issues or liver issues, what have you, we're not looking for the diet that's going to sustain them another 10 years.
Right, you're looking to
we
keep
just
them
want
alive.
them comfort and, some food to keep them going. So
The only thing that
we
worked
go
for
with
my
whatever.
Lucy was raw was the meat.
Yeah.
And taking the cracked eggs and putting the cracked eggs occasionally over the dry kibble with some water mixed in, so it kind of turned it into a porridge.
Yeah.
Only thing that she would eat.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm
Everyone's
going to do whatever it
different.
takes
Yeah.
to keep her,
They're all different.
comfortable. What do you think?
We have, I think, 6 different types of special diets for kidney and, different types of issues. So, and we're not using them all the time, but we get things donated, and we periodically have an animal that does need that. We try everything. I think with the roasted chickens, we kept E.W. Thomas in alive.
business?
It's a grocery store in Fluvanna.
Oh,
it just
yeah.
because we were buying the roasted chickens constantly.
Funny.
We use Hill's AD, which
that's a great product
the cat or dog,
for
they
sick
all
animals.
seem to like it. But we try all the different things too. Just trying
Baby
to
food.
experiment. Yeah, just experiment to see.
Do what you got to do.
Yeah.
Do what
they
you got to
like.
do.
And they may like something and eat it for a while, and then you have to change it up again. So they can be fickle that way.
47 minutes in, and it's felt like 5 minutes. I got one more comment I want to get out, and then let's give everyone a final word. We'll start with Mary first. We'll have you engage with the cameras. You can go anywhere you want on the final word. Doris Wisen says, thank you very much for your Mimi and our new dog, Honey. We love to adopt from you, Jackie. Vicky Aker says, thank you for helping seniors. You are truly a blessing. Like and share the feed, guys. All we ask is if you hit like on the show where you're watching and potentially share it to your page. And that puts both Caring for Creatures and Peaceful Passing Senior Animal Rescue in a more positive spotlight. Like and share. Final word here, Mary Burkles.
Okay.
The show is yours.
First of all, I'd like to thank all of you who joined us today. I hope we've given you a more realistic view of the craziness behind the scenes. We're grateful for everything and anything you can do to help us. Senior dogs, young cats, old cats, makes no difference. We're grateful. I feel, as much as I'm saying sometimes of the frustration, I feel like I'm one of the most blessed people in the world that I can do this work. that I have the opportunity in my life, even though I've sacrificed for it, but it's an opportunity to live what my heart wants to do, and that's special. So I'm grateful, and I'm grateful for everyone out there who helps us do it, because it doesn't happen without you.
That's sizzle reel, that right there. Oh, Harris Tober's so on point. He knows that's a sizzle reel. I'm going to throw this to you. I want to echo what you said. So many people would like to make their passion their profession and be able to get up each day. And guys, it is so much hard work and so much pressure, because you have other mouths that are counting on you and other families that are counting on you, other animals that are counting on you. So the pressure is off the charts. But if you're able to do your passion and make it your profession somehow, we are one of the lucky ones. I truly feel that way. And that mindset helps me through those dark and down times where I'm like, you know what? I'm not feeling great right now, and things may not have gone my way today at work, but tomorrow's a new day, and guess what? I get to wake up tomorrow and I get to do what I want to do. And that makes me feel blessed. The show is yours. Anywhere you want to go.
I just want to thank Mary so much for inviting me onto the show, and you, Jerry. I've had a great time.
It's been fun.
I love this kind of stuff. It gave me a chance to talk about my passion, my love, which is my rescue, Peaceful Passings. People often ask me why we're named Peaceful Passings. It's in honor of the dogs that came to us as hospice, that were never adopted, that stayed with us as long as they had a quality of life. So that answers that question. I'm just happy to be able to be here, share my thoughts, and be part of what's going on here.
I love it. You were so fun. I mean,
She is.
so fun. The energy, like when you came in, I was like, something's going to happen today. This could be explosive. And it was in such a good way. We closed the show by allowing our director, Harris Tober, to offer what he learned from the broadcast. This gentleman right here is just blossoming every single day at this position. Harris Tober, the show is yours, sir.
So I think I want to take my little time to tell a personal story about my dog and ask y'all if you ever had something like this happen. It's a funny story to look back on, but at the time it was kind of it wasn't so funny. So my family used to go to a lake about a couple hours from here called Smith Mountain Lake, and we used to fish, right? And one day we had this bright idea of putting a little bit of like cheese on the end of our fish hook to increase our odds of catching the fish. My dog Hannah obviously was very interested in the cheese, swallowed the hook whole. And really the line was coming out of her mouth. Like you could see, and we had to cut the line, take her to the vet, and when they put her on the x-ray, you could see like vividly, it looked like a cartoon, like in her stomach was a metal hook, And we were there for probably 3 or 4 hours. Eventually they put her, they gave her sleep medicine and she went to sleep, and they were able to extract it out. I don't know how they did it. Like they put some sort of rod down her throat into her stomach. I was wondering, have y'all ever had something like wild like that happen?
Oh, I'm sure they have.
Yeah.
Okay, you know what? Let's keep the show going
I
here.
have,
Mary
yeah.
Burkles. Let's get Mary Burkles' take and then Jackie's take here.
It was a personal animal of mine, too, and it was cats. Many moons ago, wasn't even out east yet. I was still living in Milwaukee. And calicos, they can be kind of interesting characters. Anyway, before I left for work one morning, I had to quickly sew a button onto my jacket. Left everything on the top of my dresser, ran off to work, came back home that night, getting ready to feed my cats, and put the calico's food down. She goes to eat, and she goes back. And I went, huh. So I said, what's wrong? You okay? She went to eat again. Her mouth went open, and she steps away from the bowl. And I was, something's very strange.
Yeah.
Get her to the vet. The vet opens her mouth to examine her. Well, she had gotten the string that was at the end of the needle I was putting the button on with, and the string went down first, but the needle lodged in the roof of her mouth. And there it was, plain as day. At least she didn't swallow it, but it was lodged in the roof of her mouth.
So every time she
it was
closed down?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, she got put under anesthesia and it was removed and was fine.
For me, and I'm
Yeah.
curious of your crazy story. For my crazy story is I'm a German Shepherd guy, and they're so incredibly protective of family. And this was 5 years or so ago. And the girl I was seeing at the time goes into my garage, and she takes the trash out in the garage, and she goes into the garage barefooted. And when she goes into the garage barefooted, she steps down on something and immediately shrieks. She thought it was some broken glass. She looks down, pulls her barefoot off the garage, the asphalt in the garage, the concrete in the garage, and there is hanging a copperhead snake from the bottom of her foot, literally still fangs in the foot. She screams because that's when reality really sets in. When it's broken glass and then you see a snake, you're going to go to a different level from your scream. Immediately, my German Shepherds go from the second floor where they're with me, sprint downstairs to the first floor, outside the side door and into the garage, and my Leo, my big German Shepherd, by 130-pound, all-black German Shepherd, the most loyal, fearless one, goes immediately into protective mode, goes after that copperhead, bites the copperhead literally in half because it's right there by her foot. In the process of biting the copperhead in half, the snake turns around and bites him in the snout. And then my other German Shepherd, Leo's brother from a different litter, 6 months apart, same mom and dad, he comes in to protect his big brother, and half the snake bites Max in the hind leg. So here I come out. I was using the restroom at the time. I was like, oh my God, I'm such a wimp. And here I come out, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is like a war zone here. She's on the ground. Leo's face is already blowing up like a football from the copperhead poison, and Max has got a hind leg and he's screaming. I called my buddy. He immediately takes the Germans to the emergency vet because of course this is 1 a.m, and then I take her in the car. We sprint to the emergency room. She's a nurse. She's so cool, calm, and collected while I'm freaking out. She's like, calm down, I'm fine. I'm like, no, you're not. You got bit by a copperhead. I'm freaking out here. That was my story, and long story short, expensive, but of course you're going to do it for your animals.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What's your story?
My story is that my husband eats a lot of food with his hands. Those would be the same hands that he had his wedding ring on. So he puts the ring down. I'm convinced it smelled like meat or something very stinky. And so my German, I think it fell on the floor. It either went in the duct, the heat duct, and is in that pipe to this day under the house, or my German Shepherd ate it. I broke up poops from that German Shepherd for 2 months trying to find that ring. No, that dog did not poop the ring out. A dog had x-rays, apparently they weren't looking for the ring, so they didn't see it. I don't know where they were x-raying the dog, some part of its body. And then, unfortunately, that dog passed, and we had it cremated, and we still do not have that ring.
Where do you think the ring was?
I don't know. It could be in the heat duct in the floor.
Do you think your husband's playing a trick on you?
I don't know. He doesn't. He's always complaining. He lost his wedding ring. He lost his wedding ring.
Yeah.
This has been so
I don't know.
fun.
I don't know what to say.
This is a gem of a show.
I agree.
A gem of
and
a
I
show.
and I would like to just add one more thing.
Please.
That I'm hoping to have Jackie back because she's written a book, and it will be out towards the summer. I think you
Renaissance
told
woman.
me.
Yeah, I'm thinking
Yeah.
they say May, June. It's going pretty fast through the production, so it may be a little bit earlier, but it's called Loving an Older Dog.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. I can't wait to spotlight it here.
Yeah.
We're happy to do it anytime you want.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Mary Burkholtz put this together, guys. It's the Caring for Creatures show. It's Thursdays at 3 p.m. on the I Love CVille network. I encourage you to take your phone out and put a reminder in your calendar that the Caring for Creatures show is every Thursday at 3 p.m. The whole game plan here is to celebrate and positively spotlight animals in Charlottesville and across Central Virginia. Everyone on this set and everyone in this studio in totality, passionate about animals. I want to thank Mary Burkholtz. Jackie Myers was a superstar with a sparkling personality. For Harris Tober, for Judah Wickower, for Lauren Linsky. My name is Jerry Miller. It's the Caring for Creatures show on the I Love CVille network. I hope you enjoyed it as much as we enjoyed it. Enjoy the rest of your afternoon. It was so good.
I know. I knew she would be.
Amazing.
Thank you.
Amazing. I loved how you brought it.
Just make it up as I go along,
You
like
brought the
everything.
energy. I loved how you brought it. You're like,
Just make it up as you go along.
isn't it fun once like